says, I think we are live. Yes, we are live. What's up, you guys? Happy Monday to you all. Let me just start my recording of the audio on this big mic because I always forget. All right, we are recording there. We are live. I hope everyone is awesome. I hope you guys had an amazing weekend. I sure did, and I did a lot of what I'm about to talk about today. So you are at Coffee is for Closers, right? That's the name of the show. And it's really to help all of you serve your clients better, help get more deals, help get more products in people's hands, and really be able to make a bigger difference and impact in the world with the products and services that you have. And my mission is really to help all of you entrepreneurs who all signed up for 24/7 sales jobs really make that happen. And as an entrepreneur, I think at times we forget that we signed up for this sales job that really never ends. And there's this really bad connotation when it comes to sales. So I'm here to help kind of decrease that, and sales is actually a really good thing. And that when you are not selling your products and not speaking about what you love and what you do, you're actually doing the other person a disservice. Holding it back is creating something that won't help the other person. So if they have a problem and you've got a great product and you don't talk about it, that's a disservice to them. So that's why I'm here. I'm going to show up every Monday. In September, we're going to shift to Tuesdays to kind of change things up. But for the month of August, every single Monday, 1 o'clock Pacific time, so everyone on the East Coast, 4 o'clock for you. And everyone around the world, I can't do all your time changes in my head, so just check your phones, and I'm happy that you're all here. Again, if you like the show, please feel free to share it on your pages, give me a thumbs up, give some hearts, some love, and really help people spread the message about things that we're talking about. And also just a reminder, at the end of every show, I'll do a Q&A. So if you've got any questions, I would be glad to answer them for you from my experience. So for those of you that might not know me, I'm Michelle, aka the Pitch Queen, and I've got 20 years of experience. When I went and calculated everything that I've sold in my lifetime, it's been about 20 years. So in college, I was pushing tequila shots and Tuaca, and I was one of those promo girls. I've sold clothes at Nordstrom's. I was in the mortgage business. I've done real estate. I've sold some high education products online and phone sales. I ran my own company for the last 10 years called Fitzy Foods, which I recently closed, so you'll be hearing a lot about that company. And so I've sold everything from like red chicken enchiladas to our Fitzy bars that got into Costco, and I got into vitamin shops. So I've got an enormous amount of experience that my mission is how can I share it with you. So last month, we talked a ton about building relationships and building rapport, right? And that is the foundation of everything. So if you haven't watched these episodes, you can go watch them again on the replays, or you can check out the YouTube, the Pitch Queen account YouTube, and you can rewatch it. There was some really, really good stuff in there. So those of you that are going to live events, trade shows, if you're like me and hit up a Starbucks every day, or whatever it may be, building relationships and building rapport is the foundation to any real true sale or success in sales. And when I mean foundation, it's kind of like if you were building a house. If you built a house with a really not so good foundation, it would probably fall apart in an earthquake. So with sales or being an entrepreneur and selling online, going to trade shows, selling on Amazon, e-commerce stores, it doesn't matter what you're doing or where you're selling, because you're always going to have some sort of human interaction with the customer. And having that rapport and relationship is the foundation to your house. So when you get those big sales, you won't have an earthquake that explodes on you and your whole house falls apart, because you've built this strong rapport and this strong relationship with the other person on the other end. So that was all last month. And this month we're transitioning into what I call knowing your worth, believing in yourself. Because until you can believe in yourself, there's no one that will believe in you. And that's number one for like anything that you guys are doing. My head kind of itches. Let me get this itch. Okay, much better. So for today, let me show you what the slides look like. Again, we post the slides, so you don't really have to take too many notes. So just make sure that you look at the slides, and then Amazing Amy will post the link in there later at the end so you guys can have a copy. And for all of you guys, maybe on Instagram, you can go on Facebook, like the page, and you can get the slides there, okay? So again, you're watching Coffee is for Closers, and I love coffee, I love tea, so I've got I've got Starbucks today, I've got a mug full of water today, so you can always show up with smoothies, you can show up with a margarita, a beer, whatever your favorite beverage is, you can show up with. And it's so hot in San Diego right now, and we are boiling in here, so stay hydrated. So let's go on to what we're going to be going over today. So you guys can see my screen. And the signature recipe for today. We're always trying to keep it really coffee talkish, right? So cup of wisdom. I'll give you some wisdom of things that I do every day. Again, believing in yourself, knowing what you're worth and all that all stems from, first, you got to believe in you and believe in what you're selling and believe in your products or services or whatever it is. Like, believe in it so much that if 100 people told you, no, you can't do that, no, you're stupid, no, that's a dumb idea, no this, no that, it's like you just keep going. You don't even hear it. It's like out of the way. And I'll tell you a little bit about that in one sec. And then treat yourself. So you got to take care of yourself. You can't help others until you take care of yourself and help yourself. And I really, 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 truly believe this. And I've talked to a lot of other entrepreneurs, successful ones. Speaking of that, I have a podcast launching August 20th. It's called Success Unfiltered. So we'll start talking about that. But it's very interesting to see what these people have done throughout their careers or entrepreneurial journeys. Some of them are comedians, athletes, performers, agents, like 7-figure entrepreneurs. So there's a whole gamut. I mean, people doing upwards of $1 million, $2 million in their businesses easily. But there's a common theme, and you really have to take care of yourself. So treat yourself. I've got a hot tip for you today. We've got sweet reminders, and again, ending with some energy for the soul. So let's start talking about that. Your success depends mainly upon what you think of yourself and whether you believe in yourself. Okay? So I'll tell you about the Pitch Queen, right? It's the personal brand of mine where I'm here to share my 20 years of experience with you guys as it relates to sales. So a lot of people hate sales, hate it. Like it's a 4-letter word, it's like bad, all of that. I actually have a different opinion on it. I love it. So my mission is to help you love sales as much as I do because I see it from a totally different place. And when I was telling a few people about what I wanted to do with the Pitch Queen brand and why I wanted to do it through a Facebook Live, through a podcast, and sharing my experiences, I was told, well, you know, you're not that good at this, or you don't know how to write, and who's going to read anything you write? Well, let me tell you guys, all that stuff, you just need to not process it. Like, I didn't even let it in my ears. I know I'm not a good writer. I am 1,000% confident that I am not the best writer. But I'm cool on camera. I love talking to just the air and having 2 cameras and a mic right in my face. And that's what I'm comfortable with. So when you figure out what you're comfortable with, you can get help from other people that are really good writers. And they can take your videos and interpret them for you and help you with the areas that you're not so good at. So I did not care what anyone else was telling me, because I believed in myself. And when you believe in yourself enough, nothing else can stop you. I mean, you'll hear on the podcast, but my parents are pretty conservative. And my mom, not so much. She's an entrepreneur, has had 3 or 4 companies. But my dad always had it ingrained in my head that, you know, I need to go get a job. I need to have a steady paycheck. I need to have a 401k. I need to have health benefits. Like, that's what was ingrained in my head. So anything that wasn't, hey, I'm going to go take a job here. He's like, well, what are you going to do? How are you going to make money? How are you going to survive? How, you know, all those stories of things that you might have learned from your parents, or if you didn't have parents that were helping you out and showing you the way of life. It's just like all this noise from different people around you. And again, you've got to believe in yourself first. And for me, when people were telling me, most of the people were like all about the Pitch Queen stuff because I love helping people with sales. And I feel like that's what my gift was. And I'm just like really great at it. So when I get to focus 95% of my time now on just this, the results are amazing. And so when you figure out what that is for you, you just need to believe in yourself and limit the amount of people you talk to about it. So that negative stuff that comes in this ear just goes right out the other, or just goes over your head out the other, so it doesn't even go through your head. So I really love this quote. And, take a picture of it. Check it out. Those of you on Instagram, you can go to Facebook and see what I'm talking about. So I believed in myself, but ultimately to believe in yourself, you have to be extremely confident in yourself and also treat yourself well. So talk to yourself like a champion. And if you look at the slides for those of you on Facebook, this rebuilds your thought process to think and therefore act as a champion. So one of my friends, Sean Croxton, he's got this awesome podcast called The Quote of the Day Show. So it's something I listen to pretty regularly, a couple times a week, or I'll binge listen to it, where I'll listen to the whole week of episodes all in like one day on a Saturday or Sunday. But last week he had one, and it was, they talked about be, do, have. By becoming someone new, we may do what we must. We may do what we must in order to have what we desire. So you have to be the person first, and then do, and then you will have what you want. A lot of times, like you go to school to, like, let's just use accounting, for example. An accountant goes to school, they're in school for accounting, then they go to CPA and get their CPA license or enrolled agent, and then they become an accountant, right? But what if they just became an accountant and then got those licenses side by side? I've seen a couple people do it, and they've actually excelled a lot quicker. And for me, by becoming the Pitch Queen and doing a podcast and doing a Facebook Live, I stepped into that place first. And sometimes you need to take the leap, but you got to go 2 feet in. You can't be like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So those of you like with jobs and doing something on the side, like really consider going 2 feet in on something that you're like, this is you, you're super passionate about it, and really be, then do, and then you will have what you want. And again, if you want to be a champion now. You don't need to do a bunch of things and then have it and then be a champion. You can be a champion now. It's all about what you tell yourself and brain process. And I love it on Sean's podcast. He's got this doctor, I think his name's Polini, if I'm saying it wrong. Dr. Polini, yeah. And it's all about brain and mindset stuff. And it's just so cool because it's all so true. So I love that. And for me, a few things that I do, about probably 2 months ago, one of my friends, he's the first guest on the podcast, by the way, Garen Jones, we met for a whole day and I did an affirmation. And he said, if you want to really charge up your day, start saying what you're grateful for. Like you're changing your mindset and everything in your brain patterns of what you do. And if you want those things to happen, instead of talking about like, oh, I want to make a lot of money, or oh, I want to start this, it's like, I'm going to start this, and you're changing what you say. And so I've been doing this for consistently about 2 months, and it's actually pretty powerful and magical. And I did it a long time ago, but obviously life happens. We lose track of time. You start to break your patterns of what you do. It's like going to the gym. You start going to the gym a lot, and then all of a sudden you fall off track. You gain 5 or 10 pounds, and you're like, oh, geez, I need to go back to the gym. It's like you've got to be consistent. So you've got to be consistent on how you treat yourself and on how you work on your mindset, but you also have to be consistent in your business. So like we talked about last month, with building relationships and building rapport, you've got to work on those muscles every day. You need to be talking to people in line at Starbucks, at car washes. All that stuff I've talked about is all really important. But for me, for my affirmation and gratitude, like everyone's like, always write down, who you're grateful for and all this stuff. But I'm not a writer. I talked about that like 10 minutes ago. Like, writing is not for me. I don't know what it is. I just wasn't born a writer. But when I say it, I'm like jogging on the treadmill about 5 days a week. I say like 50 to 100 things, people, whatever, that I'm grateful for. And it's really, really cool what happens. So try it out. And my affirmation that I came up with for all of you is that I'm gracefully resilient, inspiring myself and others to take a stand for what we want right now. And for me, that speaks like, you guys get to take your choices. You get to make whatever moves you want. And so when it comes to sales, I say take a stand for what you want and start sharing your products. Start sharing your services. Again, you've got to love it. You've got to be passionate about it, because if you're not, the whole next stuff we're talking about the next couple weeks, like knowing your worth and knowing your value, it will come through. And when you have that feeling, and tell me if you guys have this feeling, but sometimes you take on a new client or you get a gig and you're like dreading going to it. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe I just said yes to that. It's probably because you're not getting paid what you're worth. You undervalued yourself. And those feelings inside, it's like a waste of time. You know what I'm talking about? I know what I'm talking about. So think about that for the next few weeks, because it's very, very, very important. All right, next one we're going to talk about is repeating sentences. Just like I said, I'm repeating my affirmation. I do it probably 50 to 100 times a day now, still to this day. Like when I'm warming up on the treadmill at the gym, which is minimum 5 days a week for me, because you've got to get in some sort of routine. You've got to repeat sentences like, I can do anything I put my mind to. I produce great work with great results and make a difference in people's lives. My new business is amazing, and I will not rest until my goal is achieved. Whatever it is, come up with a few and just say them over and over again. Even if it's not true today. That's the important thing. Like, you might think it, but it might not be happening yet, but we want to be as if it were happening now. Okay? So, homework today, come up with 3 things that makes you a champion that you can repeat constantly, or an affirmation or something that speaks to you that puts you like, whoo, I feel good after I say it. Like, wow, that was really good, and just kind of motivates you, inspires you, and just like repeat it on like clockwork. Maybe I think repeating things when you're moving too is really good instead of just sitting down, like walking. Maybe you take a walk around your block. I do that sometimes. Treadmill. You're at the gym. You're lifting weights. You're like, I can do anything I put my mind to, whatever it is for you, do that. And, believing in yourself does not mean you are cocky or self-centered. Okay, there's a huge, huge, huge difference. Believing in yourself means that you believe that anything can happen more than any outside influence, or what I call that noise, can get to you. And trust me, it can get to you. So I've got a little story I want to share. And for those of you that do know me personally, I applied to go on Shark Tank season 4. Okay? And a really good friend of mine, Cheryl Roush, believed in me as much as I believed in myself, that she worked with me on my pitch, on my presentation, my hand skills. So like when I was like this, when I was like this, what to do with your hands, how to stand, how to look at the people. There were like 5 sharks. But I believed in myself so much, and I literally had no business of getting on Shark Tank at the time, because I had literally just started the business. And our protein bars were just cardboard prototypes at the time. But I was one of 146 people that pitched. Only 96 people aired. I was not one of them, so you'll never see the episode. But it was still the best experience of my life. But you want to know the real reason on how I got there is because I believed in myself. The producers, I think, saw that. You had to submit a video, an application, all this other stuff. But I was like, I've got something great and people need to know about it. So I believed, I took action. That's the second step. And I made it happen. And I also enrolled a lot of other people that believed in me too, like Cheryl or all of our investors. We had like little mini Shark Tank practice sessions at my house. It was crazy. I was like, oh my God. I was so prepared. I think I was too prepared that I was so boring for TV because I already knew all my answers. They like it when you cry or go crazy or catch you off guard. But I practiced so much, but because I believed in what I was doing. So for all of you, it's essential that you have to believe in yourself first before you can have others believe in you too. And, shout out to Cheryl. Thank you so much for believing in me. We're still really, really great friends today. And she's also going to be on the podcast Success Unfiltered. I can't remember which episode, but it will be within the first 2 weeks. Again, it's essential to believe in yourself for a happy life and a thriving business with a lot of sales. People want to buy from people. People want to buy from people that believe in themselves, though. So until you can believe in yourself so much that people, when you talk to them, present your products, pitch at a pitch fest, get on Shark Tank if you guys want, like whatever it is, your belief in you and your product or service has to be so great that it's like vibrating off you. You know what I mean? I think if you guys know what I'm talking about, people are like, oh my God, Michelle, you really love what you do, huh? Like when they start saying that to you, then you know you're on the right track. Or I send out an email every Sunday. So if you guys aren't on my email list, I have a really, really great ebook I wrote. If you want to check it out on my website, it's the top 10 things I wish I would have known before I started my last business that will skyrocket your sales. And it's all so true. I mean, I can't tell you how true it is. So just give me your email. You'll get the book. It's so awesome. But again, the reason why I was able to get to where we've got to with that company was because I believed in myself. I mean, I got our products into Costco. I really had no business being in Costco. I convinced Vitamin Shop that they needed to get in the fresh prepared meal space, right? Supplement store, getting into fresh food. I mean, it was like the hardest thing anyone could ever do. I don't know if anything is ever going to be as hard as that. It was like every challenge that you had, I felt like every single time I took a step forward, I hit a brick wall. Have you ever felt that way? You know what I'm talking about? You hit a brick wall and you feel like you want to just go lay down in bed and cry your eyes out because you're just like, what's the next problem I'm going to have? So imagine taking fresh food into a huge retail chain. They invested over $1 million into this test project, but the reason why they chose us was because I believed in myself and I knew I could get it done, and we did get it done over any of the competition. I think they even said, and maybe I'll have Doug come on the show one day. Hi, Doug, if you're watching. But Doug knew that if something went wrong, Michelle would be there to fix it. And I was. I mean, no other company or competitor of ours at the time would have done what I did. I mean, I went to stores. I practically lived in New York for a year. I was on every Long Island Railroad and subway going store to store, making sure things were executed properly. Again, the bottom line is believing in yourself first. So think about that. Think about those things that you're going to say to yourself, because no one else can believe in you until you believe in yourself first. So that's my little reminder. My homework assignment for you guys this week, like I said, is to come up with an affirmation or those sentences that you want to say. Like, I can do anything I put my mind to. I produce great work with great results and make a difference in people's lives. My new business is amazing. I will not rest until my goal is achieved. Or like Sean, I think you say, what do you say when you're on the treadmill? Like, I'm a badass, or I don't know, whatever it is that gets you like really pumped up, do it. I think even Tony Robbins, I've seen some of his like documentary stories. He jumps on a trampoline and he does some like crazy stuff, but you got to get your body in a physical state to really create extraordinary results. And it starts from like what you tell yourself, your mind, that little voice in your head. So that's what we're focusing on this month. I will go back just to the video right now, and I would love to answer any questions if there are any. If there are not any questions, I will see you guys next week. I've got also another great ebook I made for this, so if you type show in the notes, I'll email it to you. You'll love it. It's all about knowing your worth, knowing your values, and believing in yourself. So that's why we had to touch on this subject first today. Do we have any questions? Tammy says that's great stuff. Love it. Jeannie, cool, cool. Well, if you guys don't have any questions, Jeannie, another great episode. Thank you so much. You're the best. Feel free to share it on your page. Do you have any questions, Jeannie or Tammy? You've got me for another 4 minutes or so. We try to keep this to 30 minutes these days. Anything longer gets a little bit, tiring, right? We all don't have that much time. If there's no other questions, you guys, I will see you next week. It was awesome being here with you. I really appreciate it. I hope this was really helpful and you do your little homework assignment. Maybe, what else really works is coming up with some good music that you like, that resonates, that you can do that you can listen to every day. That puts you in that state of mind. So believe in yourself more than anyone else could ever believe in you, and don't let any of that noise get in your head, okay? Pretend there's a brick wall right there. Someone says, nope, that sounds stupid. Let it bounce off the wall and see you later, okay? Thank you so much for joining us for our new month of Coffee is for Closers, and I'll see you guys next Monday. So for August, we're going to keep it Mondays. For September, we're going to switch to Tuesdays, all right? Have a great day.